Okay, we should be good to go.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And we would like to open the Victoria County Municipal Council meeting for Monday, June 15th. The agenda has been circulated. I will say that we will be adding a in-camera session at the end of the meeting tonight. And it has to do with property. So we will be making that slight change. And are there any other additions or deletions to the agenda this evening? We have a motion, please, to accept the agenda with the noted change.
I
moved.
move that.
So I think that was moved by Councillor McNeil, seconded by Councillor Patterson or Councillor McGuinness, I'm not sure. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, the motion is carried. The agenda has been approved with the noted change. So we're pleased tonight to welcome Rebecca Silver Slater. She is the Executive Director from the Cabot Trail Writers Festival. She has a presentation this evening. So welcome. And we are going to turn the screen over to you. And we'll probably do questions at the end of your presentation, just it's a little easier given the environment we're in. So does that work for you?
That's perfect. All
right. So, and I think everybody can hear Rebecca. If not, we'll send a note and just let you know that we're having some difficulties, but hopefully we won't. Anyway, thank you for coming to council, and I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to unmute. I'm going to mute.
Okay, super. Well, hello, and thank you all for the opportunity to present to you on behalf of the Cabot Trail Writers Festival. It's been a little over 2 years since I first appeared before Victoria County Council, and I know that because I was very pregnant at the time, and now I have a 2-year-old, so time has passed. And back then we were in the middle of transition from the festival founder, Gary Walsh, and the former board who had organized the festival stepping back, and then myself coming on as director and forming a new board. So a lot has happened in these past couple years. A lot has happened in these past couple months. So I thought I would start by just taking a few minutes to report on some of those activities at the past 2 festivals, and then share news of what we're planning for the year ahead. And I do know you're very busy, so I'll try to keep it brief. But as the warden said, I would love to answer any questions at the end that you might have, and follow up on anything I didn't get a chance to address. So I think most or all of you are familiar with the Cabot Trail Writers Festival because Victoria County has been such a great supporter of the festival from so long back. But if I could start by just tracking quite a distance back into the past to where it began, because it's something I keep in mind in planning the festival always, because the Cabot Trail Writers Festival grew very organically and very directly out of the support of the communities in this county. And I say in this county, and I mean Victoria County. I'm calling in from Inverness County, but obviously there's a great deal of friendship and relationship between both counties. And right now, myself and the current board are all based in Victoria County, but the festival itself has always been supported and I think answering to Victoria County first and foremost, because that's where it began. It was created because a North River Book Club a dozen years ago invited the poet George Eliot Clarke to read, and word spread just by word of mouth. And there was so much enthusiasm for the opportunity to hear a poet read his own work in his own voice that in just a matter of days, word got around, and the North River Hall was absolutely packed with eager readers. And it was then that the festival founders, Gary Walsh and Jeanette MacDonald, understood what a deep desire there is among the great readers of this island to have those kinds of opportunities to connect with the writers whose work they admire, to hear them read in their own voices, and at the same time, and just as importantly, I think, to connect with other readers. So in 2018, we celebrated the 10th anniversary of the Cabot Trail Writers Festival. And that was when we made the transition to the new team of organizers coordinating the festival. We've been very grateful to retain two Victoria County residents, Marianne Wilson and Sue Miller, who work on site at the festival and help with coordination in the box office and a number of really critical planning pieces. And for the past 2 years, we've been able to pay them for the first time, which is actually quite an important milestone for us. With the new board and myself as director, coming on at the beginning of our festival's second decade, it has been one of our goals to increase the professionalism of the organization. We have outgrown the volunteer structure that fostered the festival, and that has been such a vital part of its growth. But now, to prevent burning out another board of talented and committed community members, which was what happened with the wonderful people who handed the festival over to myself and the new board, we really needed to create paid staff positions for those who are working the longest hours to plan and manage the festival. So we've been able to do that, and that's been a really wonderful thing, I think, and has really helped solidify the long-term stability and sustainability of the festival. So we have seen firsthand how much room for growth we have, thanks to the hard work of those who first created and supported the festival in its first decade, and especially thanks to the devoted audience and community members who continue to support it, and project partners and funders and supporters like yourselves. For the past 2 years, our attendance has grown by 10 to 15% each year to well over 1,000 participants. Our book sales have also grown, and therefore, with that increase in revenues, the number of artists we've been able to host and what we've been able to pay them has grown. And as I say, we do really see a responsibility in our role within the cultural ecosystem. So paying our culture workers, paying our artists as much as we're able to, and contributing to that key piece of our economy has been really important to us. Because of all those changes, we've been able to attract some really major literary talent from across the country. We've hosted a couple of the most recent Giller winners featured on our stage. Eleanor Wachtel, the host of CBC's flagship literary program, Writers and Company, gave an incredible presentation at our festival last year. We had Lynn Cody. We've also always kept room for homegrown talents like Leslie Crew and emerging writers as well. We've also made it part of our vision for the next 10 years to anchor the festival in celebrating specifically our local culture and landscape with a yearly event that's focused on the Gaelic, Mi'kmaq, and Acadian French languages. And with this event, we feature local artists from those cultures sharing their literary tradition in all its forms, from storytelling to song, and that's been a really wonderful and exciting addition. We've also begun hosting outdoor events to ensure that our visitors have the opportunity to enjoy the literary and musical arts within the beautiful setting of this island. And we've been very lucky with those events so far, particularly in terms of the weather, and they've always been free events. So we've had some great turnout getting to come and walk in the woods with us and hear some wonderful readings. Last year, we were able to host stories shared by immigrants to Cape Breton, sharing stories as well as songs, which kind of helps to connect this place and its people with the wider world beyond. And that was something I very much enjoyed myself, and know that our audience did. We've also increased the number of youth school workshops that we offer. These are events that we coordinate within the schools to bring writers from across the province to classrooms here on the island. And there's a program through the Writers Federation of Nova Scotia where the schools can cost share with the Writers Federation, but we've set it up so that the schools don't have to pay anything, and we cover those costs as well as the accommodation and travel costs for the writers. And then we coordinate it, arrange it all with the teachers in the classrooms. So we have been able to visit all of the schools that you hadn't identified as key schools in Victoria County when I presented to you last. I remember you'd asked us to make sure we got to the Deck High School students, for instance, and Ingonish students. And so among the schools that we've visited in this region in the last 2 years are Bedeck Academy, Middle River Consolidated School, Rankin School of the Narrows, Wagmatcookaway School, Wacoba Mi'kmaq School, Cape Smoky Elementary. And most of those schools we visited multiple classrooms multiple times. So all told, over these 2 years, almost 500 Victoria County students had the chance to meet face-to-face with a professional writer and learn more about the joy of books and the art of telling stories. And I mean, I can speak firsthand to what a powerful experience that can be, because I still remember with crystal clarity, the writer who came to my own grade 5 classroom many, many years ago. And hearing her talk about her work, how she created it, the journey a book takes from inside someone's imagination to out in the world, it all really stayed with me. And so I know that that kind of encounter can truly be life-changing. And it is a privilege to be able to bring those sorts of experiences to students here, especially in a remote place where the cost of travel can be a major obstacle for schools themselves being able to arrange these kinds of visits. So it's something that's really quite close to my heart. We've also been able to feature more than a dozen Victoria County artists and musicians at the festival over the last few years, and to welcome hundreds of Victoria County residents as audience members. But almost 30% of our audience travels from homes off island to attend the festival. So we're sharing not only Cape Breton talent and Cape Breton stories with the world beyond, but we're also sharing the experience of being very briefly part of the kind of intimate community that every artist and audience member is welcomed into when they attend the Cabot Trail Writers Festival. And we hear again and again on our audience survey and through word of mouth, just how precious that experience is. And that visitors plan their trips to Cape Breton around attending this festival so that they can be part of that experience again. And I know that people who live in bigger, more urban places probably think events like the Cabot Trail Writers Festival just aren't that important in a remote community like this one. I, I know I heard from the festival founders that in the early days when they would go to Toronto to meet with publishers and share invitations to authors, they would be met with this skepticism. And, they said once, one of the people at the boardroom table at HarperCollins said, why can't you, isn't there a festival in Newfoundland? Can't you just go there? Why do you need to have your own festival? And it is very easy for our corner of the world to be forgotten or underestimated. But it is almost unheard of to sell books like we do at the Cabot Trail Writers Festival. And the attendance numbers that we host in a place, without even a shopping mall, it astonishes our authors. But nothing has been more surprising to them than the enthusiasm and the appreciation of our audience. Our tiny little island has been home to some of this country's greatest storytellers, from Alistair MacLeod to Hugh McLennan and Rita Joe and Lynn Cody and Linda McIntyre, just to name a few. And I think that we punch so far above our weight in the performing arts that it's very easy to overlook what an extraordinary literary heritage we also have here in Cape Breton. And so that is something I personally really love to champion, and that is important to us at the festival to share. This is an island of storytellers, and it's an island of readers. And I think connecting this island with the wider literary world and showing that world how we welcome and value stories here is deeply important. And it's frankly, it's just thrilling. It's just a really wonderful thing to witness and to be part of. So this is what I always say about the festival. I think both reading and writing can seem like very solitary activities, but it's events like the Cabot Trail Writers Festival that create a place where lovers of books can meet and build community around the joy of reading. And it's ultimately, to me, it's this power of books and reading that is most rare and most precious, is that there really is no other art form or no other experience, I think, that can take you out of your own thoughts, your own life, your own circumstances, and put you into the mind and the world of someone else. And it's such a beautiful thing to experience, and it's such an important tool for change and enlightenment and transformation of all kinds. So that is something that doesn't leave us, alone in our own homes with a book in our hands. It's what brings us together, and that's what at the festival we want to do more than anything else is really share and celebrate that special power of books to connect us. And that is why we have decided to proceed with the Cabot Trail Writers Festival in 2020, despite the many challenges to event planning at this time and the uncertainties around health circumstances and restrictions and so on. At our last two board meetings, we agreed that we don't feel it would be responsible to plan an in-person indoor event at this time. Our audience includes a number of older community members, and in rural communities like ours where an outbreak would be a particular strain on health services, we're just really anxious to ensure both that we don't expose our audiences and authors to any risks, but also that we don't pressure them to make a difficult decision about whether or not to attend. So we wanted to find another way to hold the festival. And at the same time, we recognize that not everyone in our communities has access to adequate internet connectivity to participate in online programming. Some may not even have access to a computer or feel comfortable navigating that kind of program. So it's a little more challenging for us to go online the way that a lot of other literary festivals have. So we want to go a little wider than that. So we're currently planning a multi-platform festival that will include, digital workshops and panels and interviews and readings and book club sessions, which we've heard from other festivals who've gone this path that have had the effect of actually expanding their audience, reaching new readers, reaching younger readers, and so on. But we also want to have radio events where we're going to work with our radio partners to host author readings and interviews and panels on air, taking audience questions directly to the participating writers. So that everyone has an opportunity to take part in some way with the festival. And we'll also be sharing as podcasts all of that content online so that people who can't participate live can at least download it and listen. And if the health restrictions allow for it, we'll also host outdoor events with local artists. So we're obviously disappointed to have to wait another year to have the kind of in-person gathering that we and our audience enjoy so much. But at the same time, we see a lot of opportunity in this necessity. The theme of this multi-platform festival will be the resilience of art and community, because I think we've all seen the way that we have leaned on both a lot in these last few months. And I think going forward, we'll value both that much more. Excuse me, we'll be working even more closely with our festival partners to make sure we're reaching our audience wherever they are. And with some of our programming, we'll explore that experience of connecting from apart, building community out of the challenges and possibilities we've all encountered in shared and disparate ways over the last few months. Excuse me. So the festival will expand beyond the usual weekend to run for 8 days from September 27th to October 4th. All of our programming, including our workshops, will be free, and we will be able to offer more workshops, which is something our audience always requests, since we have a wider time frame to work with and we can plan multiple events simultaneously in this format. We'll host more authors than ever before, since we don't have to manage the expense of travel costs. And we'll host more local authors than ever before, because we particularly want to celebrate the talent of our own communities and use the web to offer the wider world a really good long look at that talent and our unique Cape Breton literary culture. So we'll share stories about the ways we're keeping well and caring for ourselves and one another at this time. We'll offer guided walks that people can take alone, accompanied by a soundtrack of music and poetry readings that they can download from our website. We'll offer daily writing prompts where people can write about a number of experiences, including the ways this time in isolation has inspired or challenged them, and then share those writings if they wish to with a wider community. We'll encourage activity even from home and invite people to share photos and videos of themselves in their own homes and gardens and trails participating in those activities. We're going to host a kitchen party of one with musicians and poets performing in their own kitchens and then sharing photos and videos of themselves dancing. We want to show this strange flip side of using this kind of technology, which some, certainly including myself, can be resistant to, but which does offer some new possibilities, even some opportunities for intimacy in amongst all the distance, with authors recording from their own homes, showing us where they work, where they write, and talking about their writing process with a kind of, writer's show and tell. So there's lots more to talk about, and which I can happily share, but I don't want to take up too much more of your time. But we are choosing to focus on what we can do this year and not on what we can't. And as I know, I found in my own personal life, letting go of expectations is really helpful right now. So we can look into the possibilities created by this experience, which we are all sharing together. And although I know it presents different circumstances and different hardships to each of us, and it has kept us apart in many ways, we also really are connected by this experience. And that's what we hope to explore together at the Cabot Trail Writers Festival this year. I know it has happened to me repeatedly that I will start to feel a little discouraged about the changes we have to make this year. And then I'll connect with our board on Zoom or even on a phone call and immediately feel uplifted by the shared energy and all the different ideas and voices everyone brings to it. And that helps me to know that this year's festival, even in this new form, will be able to retain that sense of energy, and I hope share and build it. Our writers will have many stories to share with us, but we will also be sharing together the story of how we came through this together, how we leaned on one another, and how art helped us, and how we helped each other, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. So, thank you for listening to me talk about all that.
Oh, very good. Very interesting. Very passionate about it. So. We would like to open it up to questions and/or comments. I know there are some that have them. So since we are not in person, we're just going to do it by district. And if you have a question or comment for Rebecca, please do. We'll start, and we'll just go from one date. We'll start with district number 1.
Yeah, no questions, Rebecca, but a great job yourself and the board is doing, showcasing local authors, and especially going to the school and getting young people involved too. And the innovative plans you have for next year, I think it'll work out, especially in these times. So good luck.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Thank you very much. We'll move to district number 2. Councillor MacLeod, please.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you. I last year I was in the Writers Festival, so it was very nice. I see in live how it works, and it's a lot logistics and people coming back for it, and it's too bad this year will have to be virtual or online. Do you think if there's any outdoor events will be in the Gaelic College, or where do you think they will?
That's something we're working out. I think in part, I'm waiting to have a conversation with Gail at the Gaelic College about that. I think it depends on the restrictions in place, because if we need to be socially distanced, we might need a venue that could encompass making adequate space for everyone to all be together in that format, and also ideally have some kind of weather cover if it comes to that. So I have mixed feelings about it, because the Gaelic College have obviously been such great supporters to us, and are really beloved to us, and so I would like to do anything we could to kind of bring some activity there, but I'm not sure whether that would make sense for them. And I also yeah, as I say, we may have slightly different requirements for what we need even outdoors spatially this year. So we might also look to do a partnership with the national park is another thing I thought might be interesting to explore. And so, yeah, so that's something we're still kind of working out, I guess.
Perfect. Well, thank you and good luck. And I hope to see that in virtual. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to district number 4. Councillor McGinnis, please. You're on mute, sir.
Sorry about that.
No
Great presentation, Rebecca. And like the warden said, you have quite a passion for this whole event, which I can, it comes out loud and clear. And it's basically in my backyard in District 4 at the Gaelic College. I've had the opportunity of attending some of them in the earlier days, and there's some really interesting cultural, historic trails that are in the community, and I would be willing to help out in directing you to some of them if that is in the plans, and anything I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to lend a hand. All the best to you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I would really value that, the insight about local trails and so on. That would be actually quite wonderful. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to district number 5. Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Warden. Thank you, Rebecca, for your presentation, and also the innovative ways you and the board are planning to make the event work. As you probably know, there are a lot of events that are not going to take place this summer. So, you know, it's good to see that you have not thrown in the towel right away and decided to postpone or whatever. So, and it is amazing how it's grown over the last 10 years, as you indicated. I've known Gary and Jeanette for a long time, and they really started with an idea, like you said, and developed it. And I think they left it in capable hands with your leadership and the board you have. So anyway, congratulations, and looking forward to your event.
Thank you so much, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Warden.
Yes, thank you, Warden. Rebecca, thanks very much. Great presentation. You know, when you think back where Celtic Colors started and one of the newer ones, Kitchen Fest, you guys are right up there with them. And I think you've made great progress over the years. And I think you're going to be a big benefit to both Victoria County, but to all of Cape Breton. And I hope to see us grow even more. Again, as like Councillor Patterson said, would have been easy just to say we're not doing anything this year. So it's very good to see the initiative that your board has taken to make this work. And it sounds like it's going to be a very exciting year for you. But just want to say thank you very much for everything you do for Victoria County. And we look forward to hearing the more success stories. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Very good. We're going to move on to district number 8, Councillor McDonald.
Yes, thank you, Warden. Thanks, Rebecca. Great presentation. As all the other councillors have stated, you show a great passion for this and the importance of getting out to the schools. I know in the North of Smoke area, the children, they really appreciate it at the high school level, right down to the elementary level. And wish you a great success in the future. And it's all going great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
CAO, have any questions before?
No, I don't. You're probably wondering, Rebecca, though, for funding, which is the reason that people are normally show up to these. We have had our funding meeting, or our grants meeting, and we will be approving the amounts that have been approved later on tonight, and letters will be going out tomorrow, actually, for all the successful recipients.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, we can't tell you a number just yet because it hasn't been approved.
I quite understand, and I truly appreciate it, and all the work all of you always do, but especially in these recent months, I can't imagine the challenges. But thank you so very much, and for all your support over these years. It just really made such a big difference.
Thank you. And just to end up, I just, on behalf of council, want to compliment you on 10 years. I think for those of us that were around the table when Gary, when they brought this project forward, we never thought that it would get to this size and be this successful. So for us, when we look at the grant applications, it's more than grant. It's been a good investment for us, and it's been value for us to contribute. So it's been a great benefit to the community and great benefit to the county. I only had one question or comment. I'd be interested to see where in past years you've gone to schools to visit the students. I wonder what it'll be different this year when you offer some online. Just the fact I had 2 grandchildren here last week and they spent half their time online. I'm wondering if the pickup online will be significantly more or less.
I agree. I wonder that myself, and I know we have been advised by. Originally, one of the things I thought maybe we could go forwards with for in-person events would be events in the schools and maybe with CBU, if those schools were going to continue and be meeting and gathering anyway. I didn't think it would be an additional risk, but we have been advised by the Writers Federation that they want the workshops to move online for the fall. The good thing is, because we don't have to pay travel expenses, it means we'll be able to do more workshops than ever before. But it will be interesting to see what pickup we have from that. And I think that is one of the things that, while we wouldn't have wished to be in this circumstance, there's a few areas where we'll be able to do some growth and innovation we probably should have done sooner, but are forced to do now. And one thing is really expanding the content that we're offering online, which I think, besides enabling us to reach beyond our region and visitors to this region, will also, I hope, enable us to reach more younger readers, which is something that I think is so important. So yeah, that's definitely my hope, is that will make a big difference. And be something we can continue as well as the regular festival when we do return to that format.
Great. Well, listen, I want to thank you again on behalf of council for your presentation tonight, and make sure you go to your mailbox tomorrow. So.
Thank you all so very much. Truly.
All right. Thank you very much. We are going to move on to the next item on the agenda, and the minutes of council meeting for June 1st, 2020 were circulated last week. You had received them. Just take a quick look at those. Are there any errors or omissions that you noticed upon review of those minutes? Hearing none, can we have a motion to approve the minutes as circulated, please?
Approve.
Moved by Councillor McLeod, seconded by
Second.
Councillor McNeil. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion is carried. The minutes are approved. Is there any old business this evening?
Just a question, Warden. Under the e-voting section, the bylaw, is it a bylaw or policy? Bylaw.
Bylaw.
Bylaw, okay. The first reading was at the last meeting, but
Correct.
I noticed in there that it indicated 100% electronic voting. Did we discuss that or pass that, or we did?
We did two councils ago. Yep.
2 councils ago.
Mhm.
So how will that work? There'll be no
So
polls, say.
not necessarily. There
Oh.
could still be polling stations where there's electronic setups there rather than paper. So we will
Okay, yeah,
probably-
okay, I see what you said. I thought it meant that there would be no polls and it would be all electronic, but I understand now that you may have a location for a poll for someone who may not have access or just wants to go to the poll. Some people just like to do that.
Correct.
And in difficulties, there would be election workers there who would be able to give them directions what to do or whatever.
Correct. I believe that e-voting, the workshop that that I attended, talked about possibly having polling stations where there's electronic setups, but also having people there at help desks where if someone is having trouble or is not on the list, that there's people at a help center phone number that you call to talk about whatever issues that you're having with it as well.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that a fair number of municipalities have never had e-voting.
Mhm.
We've had it for the last 2 elections, and it's worked perfect as far as I know.
Mhm.
But you know, I don't think CBRM had. I could be wrong now, but anyway. So anyway, okay, that clarifies. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you just remind me, e-voting is the phone, by phone or internet?
Phone or
Okay.
internet, correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Any other questions, old business? We good? Thank you for clarifying. Sorry?
It's just one question. It's definitely still on for the 17th, is it, of October? Is
Currently,
it confirmed?
yep. Mhm.
It is, okay.
Unless something happens, I believe, Warden, that they were going to reevaluate August, September, possibly.
Yeah, I think it was the projection of the second wave of COVID. If it happens to hit, there would be a check
see.
at see if there would be. But as far as we understand right now, all systems are go for the election in October, and we have our returning officer hired and in place. So we're ready to go. Any other questions about that or any other old business issues to come out of those minutes?
So I have a couple of things to come out of there, just some responses to some things.
Okay.
The pride flag was raised on June 4th at the courthouse, and that video was live streamed and is also available on Facebook on our Facebook site if anyone would like to go and see that. It was noted to congratulate Patrick on all that he has been doing related to Cape Smoky. I sent him a congratulations, and his response was that it was a privilege to work on Victoria County projects. So just so that you all know that was very nice. We are looking to implement, we are looking to see about opening up our transfer stations just during regular hours. So just, we're going to be enforcing that over the coming months. Also, I'm still waiting for Lyle to let me know that how many firefighters that there are that have over the 25 years. So he's gathering that information related to each department. And one other thing, also sent an email off to Department of Environment and to District Planning related to shoreline audits. So I'm just waiting a response on that.
Just to add with that, we had to make a slight variation in the criteria for the 25 years for firemen. First, when it went out, it was if you were an active fireman, but anybody that's got 25 years in, if they're still living, or if they're still living as a in the community, or if they're an active fire department member who has more than 25 years, both qualify. So we just want to clarify that for those that may have retired in the last couple of years or resigned, whatever, as long as they put in their 25 years, they would qualify for receiving that medal. And Lyle's looking at compiling that information.
So I'll just go back. Apparently there was some issues with the pride flag raising video, some technical issues that we're working on. However, we did have 300 pride signs printed and handed out throughout the county, and there's only 30 left. So check for those on businesses and residences around the county.
See them up around the community. With the medal, have we sent that on yet to get a price on getting those minted, so to speak? Or
I thought that was you or Dan that maybe was doing that. Not our Dan Chesson.
I think we were looking at whoever supplies our stuff now. They give us a price on that.
Okay, So I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to check.
Yeah, we'll check on it. So, and if I didn't mention that before, that's an error on my behalf. So I'm not sure where you get those things or how they're designed, but it would have to go to one of those companies.
Right. And I think it actually matters the amount that you're getting. So we might be waiting for Lyle to come back with the number of approximates before we get a quote on them too.
Exactly. So, and we agreed that we get more than what we need. So we'd have some in future as well. So.
Great.
And the other thing I just want to mention to just recognize Councillor McLeod for the Pride flag raising, and to thank those councillors that were able to come that day. It's a good turnout, and it was well received, and just speaks to the fact that a number of banners that were passed out in the county, 270 to 300, it tells that we are certainly a diverse community, and it was well represented. So well done. And thank you for doing that. Go ahead, sir. Anything else that you want to add to?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Just wondering about the recycled center was mentioned. Any idea when that is going to open for the recyclables?
Are you talking the reuse center or the recycling depot?
No, the recycle depot.
Okay, so the recycling depot right now is open 3 days a week, Thursday to Saturday, for pre-counts. In the upcoming week, let me just get this right. Next week, the depots will be open 5 days a week for pre-counts. And then the week after that, it will be open for normal operations.
So by is the public informed on what that pre-count involves?
I believe that they can look on our website and get that information.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or call, they could also call out to Public Works or the Scale, and they will let them know.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor. So we're gonna.
Yes, just one other thing, an update on broadband. Every councillor is getting a lot of complaints about the internet and broadband service, no matter what ISP they're involved in with. I did email Carla at the partnership if there was any update she could supply us. The province Develop Nova Scotia deadline for the second round was June 5th. So they were told that announcements for these projects will be done sometime in August. She wants to get an update from Develop Nova Scotia. She's wondering if council wants to be have a meeting with them separately to find out where they are. An email did go around. I think you all received it. So I told her I would discuss it at council tonight. Do you think it's benefit for us to have a meeting with Develop Nova Scotia, or try to get a meeting with Develop Nova Scotia for where the future projects are?
So just for clarity, are they was Develop Nova Scotia going to meet with the municipalities as a group as they normally do?
They are. She's trying to arrange a meeting with them in the future, but with the amount of phone calls that we're having, all the councillors throughout the area, I'm wondering, would it be good to have them just for Victoria County too?
Great, good point, and I understand now, and so it might be easier, and we might be able to get to meet with them sooner if we just ask for our own municipal meeting. Are there any councillors who want to weigh in on this? And just please, for those people that are watching online, potentially, if you would just say who you are when you make your comments. But although we're familiar and we can see, there may be some that can't. So is there anybody there that wants to weigh in on that before we move on?
I just have a comment. I received the same email, and she's saying maybe it's a good idea that she do a webinar, so maybe a lot of people can see it and have the information, and then they can after they can come to council and will be more public. So I think in the meantime, we need some information to put in the communities because this is going out of proportion right now. So at least, they can have a little accountability to about this right now. So maybe the webinar between partnership and development of Scotia can give us some updates in general. And that way, after council, because it's the same answer, the first, first phase, the second phase, but don't say anything about that. Like we need to know more,
Okay.
The only thing that concerns me is Development Nova Scotia with these projects. They didn't seem to consult very much with the municipalities at all to find out where the problem areas were in the area. Maybe they're getting the information from another source, I don't know, but they didn't come to the municipalities to find out, and we're kind of on the front line of it, everything. And also, if they're getting their information from the ISPs, I know from past projects, ISPs will tell them that there is service available in the area when really there isn't. So they should find that information out. So.
Okay, absolutely.
But no, the Cape Breton Partnership gave the update from us, telling they working for for the municipality. Say, listen, this is the area they are not existing or they're bad. So I think with the webinar, they can see for their own eyes to see where is the problems in our county. If they do the webinar and they invite the business or public,
okay.
I think that will be the first one, and the second for sure to bring to council when they can get together and do it again.
Okay, that's Councillor McLeod. And just a reminder, if you just identify yourself when you speak. So I'll identify you because I know I see your hand up, Councillor McGuinness.
Yes, I just want to comment that a lot of shop owners here are not opening their doors in the community along District 4 here, and they're hoping to do online services, and they're frustrated because they don't know if they're going to be able to do it. And the other thing is the bill for the service is the same as it was when we had service, and it's very, very inadequate at this point. It's very, very frustrating. Even for, last week I couldn't go on Zoom, for example, for a meeting.
Yeah,
that's just day to day. And I can understand the frustration from these people that are trying to run a business that's gone down in service terribly in the last couple of months.
Anybody else? Thank you. Any other districts?
Larry has his hand up.
Yeah, just a comment on, we met a couple of months ago with Develop Nova Scotia, and they weren't very open to taking comments from the municipality. I guess the big thing, I wouldn't get our expectations up very high that they're going to give us much information. The number one thing they're going to tell you is that while things are being negotiated with the different parties, they're not allowed to give any information out. So until something's announced, they're not really going to give you very much information. So I don't know what a meeting with them is going to do. I guess we got to go back and look that they do have a mandate to provide, I guess, 99% of Nova Scotia to have, I guess, up to 50 megs download speed. So very few people have that in the areas. Most of us are down around 5. So I think they're quite aware of it. So I think we just got to give it some time. I think we're going to have the announcements in August. And I think once those announcements are made, then we go and look at what hasn't been covered. And then we go back to them and say, what are we doing for the rest of them? But I really don't think we're going to get much information out of them. Again, I'm open to a meeting with them. I just don't want to get the expectations to be very high.
Okay, maybe what we will do is give them the option if they have some information that they want to share in August and they think they can give it to us in August. Maybe we'll wait till then. If they delay that August date, then maybe we'll ask that they meet with us sooner rather than later.
But my question is, sorry.
No, go ahead, Councilor.
Okay, Councilor McLeod. I know the information will be the same, but they need to put a face in this project. It's everything is just in development of Scotia have to put a face on, and maybe that will be the same information, They have to be out for the public, because right now everybody is at home and is trying to work, and that's why they have the problem right now. Before was very low because we know everybody needs a service. So the problem we have right now is everybody's calling to us to tell us what's going on, and we want to put it to our MLA, and he will be the province. But I think they need to see that it really is an issue. Nobody, they know that they need to be accountable to about that. That's
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any final words? So, sorry.
Just one other thing. Carla did say that she could look into pulling a meeting together with the service providers too, but maybe that would be best after August too, when the announcements would be made. So.
Okay, so we've had quite a bit of discussion on this particular issue. Do we want to see if they're available for a meeting before August, or you want to wait till August? That's the fact that we ask for a meeting doesn't mean that we are going to get one. And I would think under current circumstances that Councillor McLeod says is it'll either be a webinar or it's going to be a Zoom meeting. So what's your thoughts? You want to ask and see if they are available first and then go from there. We've had good discussion on this particular point. So
I say it right now, like I'll just give you some phone numbers, websites, or where the people can complain and they're going to listen.
And I
where we
guess
going to all these calls, or it's okay. They say okay, in August we have funding and they're going to be but it doesn't mean anything, because then they don't give any information, just what's approved and that's it. So, or just have development special where we can put that complaint.
Yeah.
Where people are going to be heard.
So I guess for what I'm hearing then is that residents are asking, and we can either ask to meet with them or we can say that we will meet with them after August. So those are kind of our choices. So I guess somebody perhaps should make a motion that we meet with them, and then we'll vote on it, and then that'll give us direction to determine whether or not we're going to go forward with the request for the meeting. Does that sound like the best path forward? So if somebody wants to make a motion that we ask to Carla to set up a meeting with Develop Nova Scotia to discuss broadband issues, correct, Councillor McNeil? That would be the basis.
Well, Develop Nova Scotia, and in a separate meeting, maybe the ISPs too.
Okay, so that would be the motion that you were making?
Yes.
We have a seconder for that, please.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor McGuinness. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any contrary minded? So we've had discussion motion, and the motion is carried. So we will ask the CAO to contact Carla and set that up. We good? Thank you for that. Any other old business? We're good. Anything else, CAO, that we're good? As far as old business?
No moral business.
Okay, we're going to move into new business, and the majority of the new business has been captured on the CAO's report, which was circulated to you earlier today. So I will let the CAO take us through the report, please.
Yep, just a few things that are going on. Met with my department heads, so wanted to give you a little heads up of what's going on. In tourism, we are looking to see if we have enough numbers to run our next online course. The first one started out with a lot of numbers in it, a lot of attendees, and then we ended up with just 5 that are completing it. So it may be timing, not really sure why, but we are looking just to see if it makes sense to run it, to run the next course at this time. Tourism has also been working with DCBA on reopening plans, surveys, and working with businesses. Of the DCBA reopening survey that was put out to different operators, there was 111 Victoria County respondents that responded. And interestingly enough, only 6 of them said that they are not reopening. So the feeling that I got coming around from economic development and from tourism, from talking to different businesses, is that they have a positive vibe going on right now. But some are a little apprehensive about some of the rules or the safety or the precautions, or seeing tourists coming in. So looking for a little help on possibly developing some kind of subtle questionnaire so that they have that in their back pocket to ask customers coming in the door. There's ongoing discussions that are going on about washrooms. And just a reminder, we have an expression of interest open for the North Shore area until about mid-July, which is on our website right now. Our active living recreation department has some recreation Zoom classes that are going on. This week, I think it's a weaving class that's happening tomorrow. And next week, Martin from the Ski Hill will be the guest, and he will be answering some questions about what's going on down there. Lydia is also looking to put a survey out for help in developing her active living strategy, and she will be offering a prize for respondents on that. So we'll be looking to promote that so that she can form a good strategy, but also give people something, give a winner something for putting some time into that. She also is looking to have some rec kits dropped off or delivered, but Canada Post is a little behind on those. So we are behind on getting the rec kits delivered. There in transit somewhere. Currently, she has only one COVID reopening grant that she has approved. This is a grant that is in the Recreation Active Living department for not-for-profits. I think she sent it out to council already, but just be aware of that there is some money for PPE and sanitizers for not-for-profits that are looking to open up. She is also on the Cape Breton Island Special Task Force pilot program that's going on. It was formed by Emily Pond from Regulatory Affairs, talking with other areas on the island about hosting special events and how we could do that. So I think their first meeting is next week. Was talking with Patrick in economic development. Patrick has been speaking with lots of businesses, and again, there's mostly a positive vibe coming from them, but some apprehension in this new COVID world. But he was pleased to report that he has 4 business startups in the last 2 weeks, working on 12 operational plans and 20 COVID planning applications currently. So that was pretty good news. In the tax department or the finance department, the tax bills should be printed and are going out next week. We will be talking in a bit. Oh, actually, I'll bring this up after, but the grant application is going to need a motion to approve it. Alex is also working on a purchasing card policy within our department and has been working with RBC on setting up several different initiatives within our system. So you may notice some things or may not notice some things, but we're looking on making things more efficient and easier to use in our Diamond accounting system and at the front desk for collection of payments. In our public works department, as I mentioned before, our bottle depots will be opening 5 days a week next week for pre-counts. Currently, they're at 3 days a week. And then after that, they'll be back to normal where you don't need a pre-count. And that information is on our website and on our Facebook page for figuring out what you need on there for pre-counts. Warden?
Yeah, just to clarify the pre-count, I'm assuming that you count your bottles, you go out and you drop them off and you're reimbursed for, is that what we're doing?
Yes, yep.
Okay. Just for clarity, that's what I assume, but I shouldn't assume so.
Yeah, pre-counted beverage containers and boxed beer is what's being delivered right now.
I've had a few questions. That's why I just wanted to make sure I get
Yep.
it right. Thank you.
Yep. What is going to be happening, we're going to look for some kind of catch-up system for the businesses that had their names in for the drop-off of bottles that didn't get the benefit of when the bottling depot was shut down over COVID. So we had made an arrangement back in the winter where there was a name drawn for organizations that they could accept bottles out there. There was a spot for them. And unfortunately, some of them lost out on those over COVID. So we're going to come up with some type of system so that they could recoup some of that. So their name gets put back on the list for those shutdown months. C&D is going to be hauled. We do this once every couple of years. We haul it from Dingwall down to Bedak. So that's going to be happening in the next little bit. So if you see some of our big trucks hauling, this is what they are doing. We are looking to get started on doing some exploratory work on the Smoky water line, or the water line at Cape Smoky. We haven't received any funding yet for that. We have an application in, but this is just some exploratory in the ground work. I know that the water lines are all in the ground, but there's some exploratory work that has to happen, and we're going to be looking to do that in the next little bit. Just to let you know, we are talking to a company right now about a public notice system. We have been talking with a Canadian company and a test system for it, for if there's a water break, or if there is a detour or something that our residents need to know about. We've heard from some that they're unable to get the message, or they didn't get the message for whatever reason. So they would be able to give us their email or their cell phone number, or there's several different ways that we would be able to get a notice out to them. So we're trying to do what we can for those, for all residents. And it's really a neat system. Like you can, based on where your location is or where your house is, there can be specialized messages that go out to those areas. So we are in the process of talking to the company right now, and you should be seeing something coming out or an announcement related to that in the next little bit. We're also working on a bylaw for rebates within a commercial development district. And I'm hoping to have that ready in draft form to go out in the coming week. So what this is, Warden had requested that we look into a charter in the past, or a couple of council sessions ago. I've been talking with Department of Municipal Affairs and Housing. A charter is extremely hard to get passed, and you need something that is exorbitantly different than other areas. So that could take a little bit longer than possibly what this bylaw can do for us. So this bylaw is available to anyone current, or anyone that has water and sewage systems in place. So currently the only ones that this would qualify for is the area of the village of Bedak, but it's better than nothing right now. So it's a policy that can help any new developments get a rebate on their property taxes. So we're working on this, and I will have a draft out in the next little bit. Just to let you know, all correspondence has been sent to you. There was very little that's been received lately. And I had some stats related to the last council session. At the June 1st council session, there was 41 live viewers at one time. And then there was about 5,500 minutes that were viewed from about 3,000 people. So they probably watched a couple minutes each, but we had 41 actual viewers. So our numbers are creeping up on people that are interested in this. So that's really good. And I do have a note here that there's 21 sorry, 22 people currently that are watching online. And I believe Keith Bain is one of them that is on there currently. So, and he said to say hello to everyone. So that's what I have.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments for the CAO on the new business? Just before you had mentioned the tax bills going out in June, have we agreed to extend the repayment to the end of September? Have we had any discussions around that? Extending it?
Yes. So the date they are due is now September 30th. The portal is open for anyone that is looking to get into the tax repayment program that is available. And anyone that needs help with it, give a call to the front desk at the courthouse or to Alex, and there's lots that can help you through it.
Great. And I just mentioned that because it's worthy of repeating for perhaps some of those that were. Thank you very much for that report. There are no questions and comments. Then we shall move on to the taxation update, please.
Sure. So this went out today. As of today, we are at close to 974,000 outstanding, with 538,000 in current and 436 in arrears, which means that we're below the 1 million mark before we send our bills out. This time last year, or when we sent our bills out last year, was June 25th, and we were at 1.074 million outstanding. So we're actually ahead of where we were a couple of weeks later last year. So we're almost 100,000 to the better this time over last year, 52,000 in current and 48,000 in arrears. But our gap between last year and this year is shrinking. And we expect this to happen based on putting out this repayment plan, but we're hoping that the repayment plan is going to help a lot of residents out as well. So yeah, we're encouraging anyone that needs it or anyone that's been affected by COVID for sure to look into this. It's an easy application to fill out. It's online, or there's paper copies at the courthouse also. The courthouse right now is open to anyone coming in. It's open to the public, but we're restricting access, but you can call and make an appointment also to come in.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Any questions for the CAO in regards to taxation report this evening? Next item up. I'm sorry, did you have a question, Councilor McGuinness?
No, I'm fine. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for the report, Leanne. Our next item up for discussion tonight is community halls accept charitable properties and 2021 community grants. And is that could be presented by the CAO or CFO?
Nope. Alex is going to come in for that.
Okay, great. Is she here? Alex, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here now.
Very good. Thank you. Floor is yours.
Okay, great. So the first two things are kind of together for the community halls and the exempt charitable properties. So I sent this out in an email on Friday. So this is the list that we see every year. So start with the community halls. We have two. I'm looking for a discussion or a motion for the two amounts that are on there. So one is per our bylaw related to community halls. We reduce it from the commercial tax rate to the residential tax rate. So that would be needing an approval of $11,568.76. And then what we've done historically in the past is then we've done a grant to the community halls to write off the remainder of the balance. So that's another $17,344.62. So the list is, there were no additions to the list. They were updated with the 2020 assessment numbers. And then the Smelt Brook Community Hall is no longer, I think that property was sold. So that was the only change to what's on that list. And then the exempt charitable properties, there was no changes to that. It's the same list as last year. And that's providing grants to write off the full amount of taxes to all the properties listed there. And that would be $71,563.06.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Alex. So are there any questions for Alex? This requires an annual motion to approve these lists. Are there any questions before we have any discussion? Or I'm sorry, do we have any questions or discussion in regards to the lists as they were presented to you? If not, we would require a motion, and Alex, perhaps just help us with the wording for that motion so that whoever makes it, it's clear.
Sure. So it would be to, the motion would be to make the reduction from the commercial to residential rate per the bylaw for community halls for $11,568.76, and then provide a grant for the remainder, $17,344.62, and to also provide a grant to the listed exempt charitable properties for $71,563.06.
Thank you very much. Most of us have that information in front of us. I just want to make sure that we had the proper wording. So based on the information just given to us by the financial officer, is there anybody prepared to make a motion to as requested with the information as provided?
So moved.
Thank you, Councillor McGinnis, seconded by
Second.
the Deputy Warden. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much for that information, Alex. Anything else that you want to add?
Yeah,
Sure.
so then, sorry, the next thing was to just talk a little bit about the community grants. So
Yes.
the budget committee met on June 3rd via Zoom. And we went through all the grant applications received. And from that, the recommended amount of grants to offer or approve was $152,867.71. There was a little bit of follow-up from questions that came from the committee that needed some follow-up. The responses I received as of Friday I had sent out, and then I did send another one today, which was from the Bay St. Lawrence Community Center. That was, they sent in what we requested, and so that was all good. And then the one that hasn't been discussed is from the Presbyterian Church in Middle River. Perla sent out an email today answering some of the questions that the committee had for that. So I don't know if we wait for the letter from Gordon McIver or if we want to discuss it now.
I think it would be pending the letter, probably. We did receive that information. Are you satisfied that it meets criteria?
It does have, there's community organizations meeting there, which is, I think, the main point of the committee. So
Right, and that was the explanation we were waiting for. So that is the list of grants that we approved. That is the list of grants that met the right criteria as we changed in the criteria and made it more standardized this year. So we need a motion from council to approve those grants. Then we can release the funds to the groups that have applied for it.
I'll make the motion that we.
Thank you. It is moved by the Deputy Warden, seconded by
Second.
Councillor McNeil. Any further discussion on the motion? The motion has been carried. The grants have been approved. Thank you very much, Alex, for that information.
thank you.
Anything else that you want to provide tonight?
Oh, no, I'm all good. Sorry.
No, I just
Thanks.
thank you for doing that, and thank you for revamping that whole grant process. It was a much easier process to work through this year. I want to thank council's cooperation for working through the grants, and we are done with those for this year.
Yeah, it's easier when you have the policy there that states certain things and you can just refer back to it. So it went really well. Sure.
Yep. Thank you, and do noted in the minutes for the work that was done on that, and just made it more clear for everybody involved.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thanks. Warden, can I make one comment?
Sure.
I just looked through the website. We're revamping our website, are we? The website is very confusing with regard to community grants. It goes back to 2014. It actually has the policy we scrapped last year is still there. I wasn't able to find, I'm not saying it's not there, but I wasn't able to find an up-to-date application form. So, you know, I think it's confusing to people.
Okay.
I think it went fairly smoothly this year, but I think we can streamline it and
yeah, the website is being worked on currently, and possibly we'll have the committee members who are on that give an update in the near future where we're at with it. Because yeah, we know there's a bunch of old stuff on it. It just needs to be cleaned up. Things just sort of got piled on top of it, and it's really not very user friendly. So we are working on it.
Okay, thank you for those comments, Councillor, and they too have been duly to take a look at that. See if we can continue to make improvements to it so it's less confusing. Thank you. We're going to move on to Department of Transportation items or concerns tonight. We'll start with District number 8, please, Councillor McDonald.
Yes, Warden, thank you. Just a few things this evening. Grading was completed throughout the area in District 8. I was chatting with the area supervisor today, but Cabot's Landing Provincial Park wasn't completed. I wasn't sure if that had to come from lands to have that road done into the park, and the road is in quite bad shape there into the park at Cabot's Landing. So maybe we could reach out to Morley on that as well, if we could have that looked into, because all other roads were completed in District 8 as of today. Okay. The second thing is looking into the infamous Gaelic signage. This is something that we've had in progress now for probably a year and a half. I know that MLA Bain has done extensive amount of work on it. He's worked with Minister Hines and got the approval completed. And it's just lying dormant. We don't know that the signs aren't ordered. I've had no response yet from Mr. McDonald and Bedeck. I was just wondering if we could maybe get some clarification on what his plan is, because to my knowledge, that was supposed to be started a couple of weeks back. And here we are, and the signs are not even ordered as of yet. So if we could bring that up, please, it would be greatly appreciated.
That is report on the Gaelic signs. Yes, sir.
And the third thing is, I was just wondering if it's possible if we could get an inventory of machine equipment in the north here for what TIR has at present. There's been some discussion that some equipment is being moved out and some will be replaced with older machinery that's coming in from different areas of the province. And I just wondered if we could possibly ask for a current list of what machinery we have in place for Winter Works north of Smoky, because if they are planning on taking the 6-wheel drive unit out and having a loader in, there's going to be a lot of phone calls to the councillors in the north and the North Shore. I can guarantee you that. So if it's possible, we could have a plan of what the current list he has and what's going to be in place for this fall and winter.
Okay, thank you. We can add that for sure.
And I think that's it for the TIR issues this evening, Warden. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. We're going to drop down to District number 6. Deputy Warden, anything TIR tonight?
Thanks, Warden. Just a couple of things. As Norman mentioned, we did have that big yellow gravel mover in the area today. So all the roads, I think there was one left to do when I was around this afternoon. So thank you very much for TIR for getting the grading done finally. Number 2 is, this has been the same subject I brought up the last couple of councils. It's just the lack of hazard markings erosion on the highway. Still no marker on the shoulder that's disappearing just south of the marina here in Ingonish Ferry. A couple other locations are now showing up just past the south of Castle Rock. But after driving to Sydney on the weekend and seeing Councillor McGuinness's sinkhole just past the ferry, I think we're in pretty good shape, which is also marked with just a stick sticking in a hole. But if we have any walkers at night or any bikers coming in, they have nowhere to go. It's definitely a safety issue. And if we just stress to the province again, if they're not going to fix them, at least mark them so we have a little bit of warning. The only other thing was, again, it's that time of year that we put our complaint in against the line painting throughout the county. Usually the last couple of years, it's been late July or early August before the lines are put on the road. With the fog coming in the last couple of evenings on the highways, especially on Smoky and some of the mountains, the driving has been atrocious. There is no lines. We're meeting people on the different sides of the road. But again, I just like to put my annual complaint in that we deserve to have our lines painted earlier than July or August. And that's it for TIR.
Very good. Thank you very much, Deputy Warden. They are noted. We go to district number 5. Councillor Patterson.
Thank you, Warren. Yes, 2 things. I received an email today just before the meeting, and I just glanced through it, but it was from a resident of the south side of Bullitree. And I had mentioned last meeting, I believe, about a section that was in pretty bad shape and some ditching that required looking at. And I had also mentioned, I believe, the paving section when we met with Jamie and Steve back eons ago, when we could actually meet with people. February was it, I guess, or March. But anyway, so there's Heather, maybe what I'll do is forward that email to you, and you can just attach it to the letter to Steve. The easiest thing to do.
Yep, sure.
Okay. And more gravel, culverts, machinery. No asphalt yet, but we're getting close to it. So this will be probably close to 20 years. So Paul, don't give up faith. But they're doing the upper part of the Kemphead Road, and they're proceeding quite well with it. So hopefully we'll be driving on smooth pavement before too long. Larry, you mentioned about the lines. I can recall them going on in October if it wasn't the 1st of November, because there was almost snow flying and they were putting the lines down. So, but no, you're absolutely right. If it's rainy or foggy, you just can't see a thing sometimes. So, okay, thank you.
Yeah, especially with the construction on Smoky, that's dangerous, treacherous. There's no question. Agree with you on that one, Deputy Ward. We're going to district number 4. Councillor McGuinness, anything for Department of Transportation Infrastructure Renewal?
Well, maybe the solution that they're trying to come up with in the highway system is that they can calibrate the roads by the bumps or the holes that are in them instead of lines on them. They can just tell where you're at by where the holes are. But get into, the request went in, 2 weeks ago? They requested the one in Englishtown. It's still there. And how many highway personnel have driven by that in the last 2 weeks? Nothing been done. It's a hazard, just like the one down in Larry's district. And also the one by where the old school, North Shore School is at. That's again, it took, I don't know, 15 phone calls from myself. I even put the signs up myself and my nephew. And the bump signs were in the ditch for 6 months, and I finally put them up here about 2 weeks ago. So that needs to be done as well. On the North Shore, I don't know the civic number, but it's near where the North Shore School was. And you all know where that's at. That's the only ones, and I guess I have to give it a little bit of credit that the ferry is back and is operating, and it is going. That's all I can say for now. It did yesterday. I'm not sure about today. That's it for me. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. We're going to district number 2, please.
Yeah. I have a district concern, but it's regarding the TIR. Will you want me to say it right now, or is this a concern?
Yeah, if it's a TIR issue, I'm sure.
Okay. I have some residents, they're asking if some signage about slow down children's playing. So this is a concern that I have. I talked with TR and they say they don't do the signage, and but I will need a permit for add signage. So I would like to just put in the letter if they can send the permit, and we can fill it for each district. So I'm asking council to think about we can purchase signage with saying it should slow down children's playing, and we can use it for our in the budget for the council project. I have some inquiries about in District 3, District 4, and myself. So we will have to buy them from print shop, and TR says okay, but just I need a permit, and I will need council if we agree and go forward with that. So it's two different things. So I
kind of lost your audio there. I'm sorry. Did Leanne, did
you hear me?
Yeah, I think she's looking for slow down signs, which are not PIR signs, but they're
I need a permit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All
she's.
right.
I think you were saying, Perla, that you want them to come out of district budget.
No, from the line this council
special
projects.
Special
Yeah,
project.
because if all the districts there are, I don't know if your constituents they have any, they need some. Maybe we can order for 8 days, the 8 districts, and maybe 5 for each district, and you can. If you don't need it, it's fine. But if I'm presume maybe half of our districts they need it, so
yeah,
it's something we can give to them.
Okay. No, I got that. That will add that to that list. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I just kind of lost you there for a little bit on
yeah,
my.
I know.
So,
my internet.
All right. And, district number 1, any concerns for TIR?
No, just a few. I sent the list to Heather. First of all, I want to thank Keith Spain. Myself and Keith went to see Steve about a week and a half ago and about area issues. Okay, the list for this week, still the grading hasn't been completed in the area. There's still only a couple of roads that have been graded. Again, no potholes have been filled in Washabuk or Iona area yet. It's coming on the middle of June. I don't, hopefully they'll start with the asphalt pretty soon. Signs have to be replaced in the district. None have been put back up. John Neil George Road, there's old culverts that were taken out years ago and just left along the side of the road. If they could be taken away. And also on the John Neil George Road, they're looking for a couple of loads of gravel on the east end of the John Neil George Road. And I do want to thank the TIR for grading and leveling certain areas of the sides of the road, the shoulders of the road throughout the area. They did a good job of it, and hopefully it'll stabilize some of the pavement in the area. So thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. We've captured those, and we just get a note here from the MLA Keith Bain that 100 series highways have priority for line painting. So apparently they must be doing that work now because they haven't hit any of the secondary roads yet. So fortunately, the Gaba Trail is not a 100 series highway. So that's the reasoning apparently. I don't have any TIR, so we just need a motion to capture all those concerns to be forwarded to Steve McDonald at the local Department of Transportation Infrastructure Renewal. So we have a motion for that, please.
I move that. We send that letter.
Moved and seconded by
I second.
Councilor McLeod. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion
Aye.
carried. The list is complete. Thank you for that. Are there any notice of motions this evening? Very good. We're going to go to district concerns. We'll start with district number 1, please.
Yeah, there are a couple. Actually, I emailed Robert on the two. The mowing at the pump station over in Little Naris was done. It wasn't a great job they did. Robert indicated that they will look into it and have it mowed again. Also, the water bills, and this was brought up last year too. Like when they're estimating the amounts on the water bills, it should be indicated on the bill so the customers the next time will realize there could be an adjustment on the bill. So Robert said from now on that will be indicated on the bill. So hopefully that will take place. That's it. That's it for me.
Thank you. Did you want to comment on the water bills, Leanne, or we could with that?
I think that I agree with you that it should say that. I don't know where the setting is in the system to have it do it, but I'm sure we can find it. So if Robert says that it's going to be there, I'm hoping we're not going to send out any more bills without that if they are an estimate.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go
It's the best I can do right now. So I'll look into it.
We have it captured in the minutes, so we'll follow up on that. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor. We're going to district number 2, Councillor McLeod.
Okay, so I have followed that from the sign. If council will be agree with that, we can purchase them, and you can talk to your residents, and if they need it, fine. And I just asking if we can put it in the budget of the council project. And our TR will give us the ad permit, and we'll just sign it, and the people can put it in the street they will need to.
Okay.
The signage is have to be 14 inches square like a diamond, and
Yes.
have to be just reflective. So
Okay,
I have.
very good.
Okay. The second is I have the residents asking about the common halls. They have an issue right now with the operation cost, and I wonder if our MP, Mr. Batiste, can have any funding or any programs coming on, so we can send a letter to him to see how it can help the community halls for the COVID-19.
You can make that in form of a motion. Yeah.
I will make a formal motion.
Okay, so that's to contact the MP to find out where the government's position is on helping community nonprofit groups. As for correct, we have a seconder
And
for that.
just yeah.
Oh, we need a second.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor McDonald. All in favor? Contrary
Aye.
mind. Motion's carried. Sorry, go ahead. There's something else there, Councillor.
And the last, just I want to put in the minutes a thank you for Jocelyn, the staff, for the Pride Month, for the raising flag, and Penny Chapman for that both. They were excellent. Helped me to go through that the day, so was very nice.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And we will make that note, make sure it's noted in the minutes that we recognize staff for their assistance with that project. We're going to go to
Do we
district
need a
number
motion for, sorry. Do we need a motion for the signage, or everybody's fine with that?
I think we had, you made a motion, my apologies. We should second that for the information on signage. That,
Yeah, we can purchase them and
14
And,
inches square and reflective and
yeah,
the,
reflective.
sorry, we should have a motion for that. Yes, sorry. Do we have a seconder for that, Councillor McDonald? All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to district number 4. Any district concerns from district number 4 this evening?
I think we went over them. The internet, of course, the access is the big problem these days. So if we can get that resolved, things will be a lot
Yeah.
run more smoother, I think. That's it. Thank you.
It's a county issue, guaranteed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You, Councillor McGuinness. We're going to district number 5.
Yeah, just to back up what Councilor McLeod was talking about, the community halls. I've received some emails and conversations about their predicament. The particular hall I'm talking about, their expenses is about $1,000 a month, especially in the winter with heat and lights. They have zero income. They have probably, if not 4 nights a week, they have activities between card games, and they have breakfast every month, and that's their revenue generating side of their operation. And of course, that's dry now. So it'd be interesting to see, what the federal government might do. They've been forgotten, I think, by the look of it. But they can't go on forever. Taking $1,000 from the air and keeping those halls going. So anyway, I just had to back up the motion to send the letter to the minister. And I think, Leanne, we had talked last time too, or so on, about the funding we may have, or Patrick, I think, was looking into some funding or whatever for this situation too. So anyway, as long as we keep it on the front burner. Thank you.
Thank you. Good point. The longer it goes on, the more financial pressure those groups are going to be under. So go to Deputy Warden. Anything in District 6 this evening?
Yeah, thank you, Warden. A couple of things. Number one, I guess, getting a lot of concern from seasonal operators that are just opening up in the district. Getting very frustrating. They've been applying for every grant and every program that's out there, and they keep being told they're not eligible because they didn't have revenue in March or April. And if they didn't qualify for some of the other impact grants that the province had out, they don't qualify. Hats off to Lydia on the recreation, the grants for the nonprofit and stuff. That was very helpful. But a lot of people are wondering if there's any chance of getting any such grants for the other seasonal operators in the area, which I know the mass numbers of them, it makes it more difficult, but I'm not sure if we can do anything. But I would like a motion made that we write both the provincial and federal government, just asking that more consideration be given to seasonal operators, which is the majority of our operators in Victoria County. They do need assistance. They're struggling to get open. Been some big expenses been put out. If there's any way at all that the governments can help those businesses, we greatly appreciate it. I'd like to make that a motion.
Thank you very much. Well said. Do we have a seconder for that, please?
I'll second that.
By Councillor McDonald, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion is carried. Thank you, Deputy Warden. Anything else, sir?
The second thing, I think Leanne's, thank you very much, Leanne, for the information. I was very concerned about the water projects, especially here in Ingonish. I think it's very important that we get that preliminary work done ahead of time, and hopefully there will be some funding coming from the federal government when COVID is coming to an end to start the economy again. I just want to say thank you for getting that going, and anything we can do to push any of those projects ahead and get the groundwork done so that we're ready to go would be greatly appreciated. The only other third thing, I'm just wondering, I know we discussed having council live last time, and the municipal government, the minister right now is not allowing it, but I'd like to make a motion that we write a letter to the minister asking for permission to go live, where we are a small council and we can do it safely. It'd be nice to get back into to actually doing that. And again, it'd be nice to see the province get back into doing it live so that the opposition has a chance to talk about matters and have a little more say in what's going on in our governments. But again, I'd like to make that a motion. We send a letter to request that.
Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder for that, please?
Second.
Second by Councillor McGuinness. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded. Motion is carried.
And that's good for me. Thank you very much.
Appreciate that very much. We're going to District 8, top of the island. Sir, anything in District 8 tonight?
Yes, thank you, Warden. I just wanted to bring up earlier with Councillor McLeod there with the signage. Was there a cost associated with that from TIR, and did they state if they would be responsible for placing them signs? Because a while back I had looked into putting signs for autistic children in my district, and the cost of signage was very expensive. Did they give you a cost on that?
TR is not making them. We have to consign, buy them in a print shop. We have to buy it for some printer.
So can I offer my 2 cents on this?
Sure.
I think we should get a quote on,
Of course.
on per sign. We get a request from each council or each district of the amount of signs that you possibly could be looking for. And then maybe we order ones that are requested based on that, rather than ordering a certain, like just having an abundance of them. Because if they are, I remember that, Norman, that the child with the hearing problem, the sign was super. So yeah,
and I have the request. There was in District 3, in District 1, there for 3, and Victor, my district have 2, and 1 in District 4. So I'm checking about right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. So we can,
but you can make the quote for sure. No, just buy it. Yeah, the best quote, and we can talk about it. Yeah.
We'll I'll send a request around too to see how many preliminarily everyone would be looking for, and then we'll have an approximate number to put some out.
Yeah. Steve say that I can just in a printer shop, they can make them. And he just told me just have to be reflective and 14 inches, and we need a permit. So
Thank you on that, Perla. I was just wondering too if TIR would be responsible for putting placement of those. Because really, it's they want.
No, we ask them if we give it to the resident, and the resident will put it. That's why the permit is have to be with a TR permit. Either they can put it in the property, or if you say usually they put it out of the road, so that way it's the permit, like add the pricing permit. But yeah, that would have to, the people is asking for, they will have to put it.
Thank you for clarification on that. Now back to my district concerns, Warden.
Yes, sir.
Residents in the north here, namely my district, there was some public discussion brought up with regard to a reuse building or a share center, as they stated. And this is something that has been floated around for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And with COVID, it would appear to be something that would be almost impossible at this time to regenerate, but there was original talks that it could be put up at the transfer station, but we know that we have limited land use there. Is there perhaps maybe Public Works, could we task them to look if there's any other local, I guess, objectives or land areas that we could maybe possibly pursue or look into?
Yes, I just can't guarantee it right now because of COVID. So I don't know what the safety protocols are around a building like that. And that's why we haven't opened the one that we currently have in place right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but we know how important it is down there, and you forwarded on that email, and I think it's a great idea. So yeah, we will look into it. I just can't guarantee that it could be opened at this point.
So just a point of clarification, Councillor, are you asking them to look for locations for the building or for the actual construction of it?
I guess Warden, for both.
Okay.
If that's not too much to ask.
No, but it's
because originally it was supposed to go at the transfer station there in Dingwall, exactly. And we have some land issues there, so I just want to, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, currently we are looking to undertake an overall look at Public Works because maybe both locations that we have down there are not in the right spots. So this is an ask that would go along with that.
Okay.
So it's bigger than just this building.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It would be part of the picture, so to speak.
And overall, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I guess it would say if your residents are asking, you say, yeah, definitely, but we'll take a look at it, and we're probably going to take a look at it as a bigger picture as we kind of have an idea of what the restructuring of those facilities could look like. And we don't know what they're going to look like yet, but we'd do it all at once, I guess is what I'm saying. Yep.
Right, but if anyone down there has any ideas outside of COVID, or once COVID restrictions are lifted, if anyone has any ideas of locations or ways to run it or buildings that it could be in, we're open to all those things too, because I really think it's a great idea.
Great, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to use $500 from my District 8 budget to the Bay St. Lawrence Fire Department, who are currently doing grant work on the Pioneer Cemetery in Bay St. Lawrence. That's $500 from my District 8 budget, please.
That would put that in the form of a motion, please.
I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, $500 from my District 8 budget for the Bay St. Lawrence Fire Department to help with the Pioneer Cemetery located in Bay St. Lawrence.
We have a seconder for that, please.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Seconded by the deputy warden. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary
Aye.
minded? Motion is carried.
And
Anything else?
lastly, just for the district, I want to take great pride in wishing my Aunt Teresa McDonald a happy 91st birthday. Teresa has been a very a wonderful lady through the years in Victoria County, north of Smoky, who has assisted many non-for-profits, that being the Canadian Memorial Hospital Foundation, part of the CWL Women's Auxiliary. The list goes on, and she celebrates 91 years today. So I'd just like to wish her a happy birthday from Victoria County Council.
We won't need a motion for that. We will.
That's all my best wishes, Norman.
Well, sir, and that's it for District 8 tonight, Warden. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Nice one to end on. I don't have any district concerns this evening. So we're going to move on to any bylaws tonight.
So currently we don't have any new bylaws, but we did have first reading of at least 2 bylaws at our last session. So we have to set a date for a public hearing for those bylaws before second reading. Not sure what it's going to look like yet. It's probably going to be virtual, the way that we have been doing these things. But would July 6th work, which I think is the date that we were planning for our next council session? So would that work for a public hearing for both bylaws?
Yes,
Okay, so we'll set that up.
we'd have it 4 and 4:30, like we could separate.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, that's good. Then we also, I have a letter. Actually, we'll get to it in correspondence related to the Housing Authority.
Okay. Yes. Any other bylaws?
So,
That's
so
it.
our next meeting,
No, July 6th.
July 6th. Any policy reviews this evening?
Nothing currently. No.
Okay. Correspondence.
Okay, so I have received a letter from Municipal Affairs and Housing. I believe I sent it out to all of you, but just to advise you that the term of Mr. Norman Matheson, the municipal representative of the County of Victoria Board of the Cape Breton Island Housing Authority, will expire on July 19th, 2020. We endeavor to ensure that members of the Housing Authority Board can bring fresh ideas to the organization and foster a strong and healthy community through participation. With this in mind, I would like to request the municipality's recommendation for the reappointment or replacement for the vacancy. So I believe if I haven't spoken to him, but I think if we asked Mr. Matheson to continue his term, he would be open to that. So I'm wondering if anyone is opposed to that.
I'd like to move that we appoint Norm Matson to the housing.
Okay, that's moved, and he has expressed an interest to me that he wishes to continue on for another term.
Okay, great.
So it's been moved by Councillor Patterson. We need a seconder for that motion for the appointment, please.
second that, McGinnis.
Councillor McGinnis, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? if you will contact them and let them know that we've renewed his appointment for the next 2 years, that would be great. And I guess we should thank him for his service.
Yes,
for the-
yeah.
Any other correspondence come to council tonight?
No, nothing else.
I think on July 6th, I'm not sure, but both CAO and I were contacted by Destination Cape Breton about doing a presentation. We asked him to perhaps come in July or do one virtually, but let's hope that maybe by then we'll be able to meet in person. I think it would be a good time to have Mr. Smith come in and give us an update on what tourism looks like for Cape Breton, particularly for Victoria County, because of our dependence on that particular industry. So, I'm not sure if there's anybody else in the queue at this point, but if you do know anybody that's interested in, there are some presenters that think we are not operating at present, but if they are, that we can accommodate them in virtual meetings as well. So
Only when only one I think that didn't get to come forward maybe was Cape Breton Partnership to give us an update. We can ask for them to come and.
Yeah, I think where it's virtual, it's we'll keep it to one presentation. It's just a different way of doing it, although we are getting better at it each meeting we do have. But hopefully, I agree with the deputy warden. It'd be nice to be able to conduct our meetings in person, as long as we do it respecting the social protocols that are required. Is there anything else to come to council tonight? We need a motion to go in camera, and those people that are not a member of council or the CAO are going to be asked to leave the meeting. So we have a motion to go in camera for property issue, please.
I'd like to make a motion that we go on camera.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald, seconded by
Second it.
Councillor McLeod.
Yes.
She's adjusting her.
Prior to possibly doing that, CBC is asking if they can ask a question.
I'm sorry. My apologies. I didn't have my chat open. So CBC, you have a question?
Hi, Councillor Warden. Good evening. Thank you very, very much. This is Adam McNamara with CBC Radio Cape Breton.
Sure.
Yeah, I just have a few questions, if you don't mind. I was just curious if you guys were still drafting that letter to Dr. Strang, or did the new lifts cover what you guys were looking for?
In regards to
consideration for opening up to tourism.
That's a good question. I probably CAO. Do we have any updates on that?
We drafted all letters that have been requested, but we have yet to receive a response.
Thank you very much. And Ward, one other question. Where is the Gaelic signage missing in Councillor McDonald's district?
I'll let Councillor McDonald answer. He's been bringing it to council for best part of 2 years. Councillor McDonald, do you wish to give us the details of where those signage were to be placed?
Yes, thank you, Warren. Thank you, Adam, for the question. The signage would start at Cape North at the bottom of the hill, and we'll go northward over towards Bay St. Lawrence, just on this side of Meekcove, which is Inverness County. But in total, there should be up to, I think it's 9 signs, which will be similar to the ones that are erected at the North Shore, which would have the Gaelic name of the community and the English translation below.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have one more, guys, and thank you very much for sticking with me. The Englishtown Ferry, do you expect that to be running for its complete full season? And also, as a follow-up, are the people that bought season passes, will they be getting their money back?
Well, it'll be a record-breaking year if they run for the whole year. That's the only thing I can say. I'll see it before I believe it. There'll be some excuse to.
I believe we've sent that question off to TIR as well, off to Minister Hines. and asking that exact question, and we have, again, yet to receive a response.
Yeah, if I could add on that too, it's not only the Englishtown ferry, it's the Little Nares ferry too. With COVID, they're not taking the fees. So the people that have purchased their passes already, they're wondering if they could get a rebate since nobody's paying the last 2 months. Thank you.
Thanks for elaborating.
And Heather, do you have your hand up for a question or a comment?
No, if I did, it's a mistake.
You can go to the bathroom. You're excused. No.
We could put your hand down somewhere.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for those that have joined us this evening for our council session. We are now going to close this portion of the council session to go in camera. We had a motion, I believe, from Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor McLeod to go in camera. So, Dan, if you could adjust our meeting tonight so it is now a closed meeting to go in camera, please.